So you can overthink just about anything, but you can really overthink the matter of touch. You can so easily abuse touch, or so easily forget and refrain from touching. The kind of touch I intend today is the kind when someone comes up to you and gently grazes their hand over your face. It doesn't invade, and it doesn't change anything. It just makes a slight connection. When the touch is over, it's over. And in a way, nothing happened. And in another way, everything happened. Jane? So easy to overthink, so easy to forget, so easy. And yet, why is it that this scripture about the woman touching the hem of Jesus' garment drives me absolutely insane? I cannot stand it. I just can't stand it. Touch is much less consequential than all the gospel writers seem to think it is. What I don't like about it is that the woman has to go down in front of the great man, go low in order to experience healing. It's almost like the United States healthcare system was taking lessons and how to debase yourself before they gouged you for health that is not caring. It's almost like you become a dog faced with a larger dog. You know how they do in the park, right? Go down. Make like you're not going to do anything. Just inch over and touch the hem of the other dog, making sure you know the other dog's not going to fight back. You low, him high. I don't think this is who Jesus really is to me or to us or even really is. Forget what we think. Because the same man who spoke about the power going out of him when the woman secretly touched him is the same man who 40 days from now will bend down and wash his disciples' feet. So what are we to make of someone who both uses this power, weirdly at best, and also bends down and goes low in order that we might be high? How are we to interpret this kind of scripture? Some days I just kind of want to be a character in that French novel, Monsieur Le Monde, where instead of showing up at the office to change the unchangeable and to touch the untouchable, I just walk right on by 239 Thompson Street and get on a ferry to Staten Island and get off on the other side. Can you do that? Maybe you felt that way too. I think on this last day of January, a lot of people are feeling that way. The diets have mostly failed. The Christmas trees are off the street. The presents have been returned. And easy once or twice on a cold day, especially last week when it snowed so, we find ourselves actually looking at the homeless people on the street and saying, "Oh my God, I see you. I was touched by you." Touching, of course, has a great scriptural pedigree. The woman touches the hem of Jesus' garment, literally goes under him. And in the Greek word, it's kaspedron. It means the edge, the hem, the outside, the outskirts, maybe even the tassels if Jesus was garbed Jewishly that day. Maybe, they say, some readers, that she touched all four corners of the cloak, making it a kind of magical moment for her. Whichever way she touched, she was healed. That's a long time to hemorrhage, and she wasn't hemorrhaging anymore. "Who touched me?" said Jesus. "Who was that?" As though she were so inconsequential as to not have a name. Like so many women in the Gospels, her name was hemorrhage. Her name was sickness. She didn't really matter. And Peter goes on in later scriptures to have the power of healing if you but touch him. And by the way, it comes right into the present day. I've talked often about how magnificent the service was with the Pope at Ground Zero. And the only thing that really got to me is when one of my really close friends, who was sitting next to me during the service, tackled over me and over the next three people in our row as the Pope left, because, God, he was going to touch the hem of the Pope's garment. I was so embarrassed. I said, "What are you doing? What kind of an idiot are you?" And we had to have words. We've known each other well enough, long enough to have serious words. I said, "You don't do that to the Pope." And the Pope even said in his sermon in Philadelphia, "Don't touch me or the hem of my garment. Touch the hem of the garment of the woman down the hall who you haven't visited for 3 weeks." The Pope was very clear about that, sort of doing what Jesus did, moving from being the big, high, and mighty to the foot washer, and being both in the same life. But my friend who insisted on touching the Pope said, "I just had to touch him. I just had to touch him." So please, I'm not mad at those of you who want to touch the hems or have magical healings or go low in order to go high. I'm really not that mad about it, but it's really important to get Jesus right and to get leaders right and to get the Pope right. You can touch all the hems you want to, but not without violating certain democratic principles. A good leader, the people get high and higher and higher. Leader doesn't necessarily go lower, but he or she does not get higher and higher and higher while the people get lower and lower and lower. We don't want the Pope to succeed that much. We don't want him to be more powerful than he is loving. We don't want Hillary Clinton to be more powerful than she is loving, or Bernie Sanders, or what's his name? He's such a cheap joke, come on. Or Trump, or Rubio. We don't want them to have more power than they have love, right? We want them to bring us up. That is the definition of leadership. There are surely two kinds of New Yorkers, right? The one kind sees Meryl Streep on the street and runs over and demands her autograph. The other kind sees Meryl Streep on the street and keeps a certain distance, walks on by, out of respect for her privacy. The paparazzi approach to fame really bugs me, and the way Jesus participated in it on this at least one occasion. So I'm not set up to like Jesus' approach to the hemorrhaging woman, nor to despair at it, but just to be able to say that famous people like Meryl Streep and Pope Francis and all the rest are just like ordinary people. Even Jesus claimed to be fully human and truly human. I don't think they're anything different than ordinary people, or that ordinary people should debase ourselves on our way to knowing their power. I even think that knowing their power should mean that we know our power better, and that we finally feel more loved by the powerful than powered down by the powerful. I want the Pope to be a spiritually mature leader, not just a powerful leader. I mean, seriously, consider the Oscars. All those famous, important, rich people can't find a person of color to honor. What planet are they living on? Or think about what the Pope was saying about that woman down the hall. He really meant it when he said he wants her to touch. He wants us to touch her and not him. So we Protestants have a lot at stake here. We believe so powerfully in the priesthood or the popehood of all believers that we can't help but love self-governing him-touching. We can't help but touch each other lightly, with freedom and consent implied. We don't really touch each other so something will happen or something will change. That's too forceful and non-consensual as touch. Touch is the gentle graze over your face by someone who loves you that makes you feel more powerful. So a man walks into a bookstore and says, "Where's the self-help section?" And the clerk shrugs her shoulders and replies, "If I tell you, won't that defeat the purpose?" So in a brief nugget, love with power, wow. Power with love, wow. Either disconnected from the other. In your life, you have dozens of chances every day to connect power to love and love to power. Go for it. Amen. Love with power. Wow. Power with love. Wow. Either disconnected from the other. In your life.
While I was praying, somebody touched me. While I was praying, somebody touched me. While I was praying, somebody touched me. Must have been the hand of the Lord. Glory, 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 somebody touched me. Glory, 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 somebody touched me. Glory, 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 somebody touched me. Must have been the hand of the Lord. Touch me
while I was preaching.
Somebody touch me
While I was preaching.
Somebody touch me. Must have been the hand of the Lord.
Glory, glory, glory.
Somebody touch me.
Glory, glory, glory.
Somebody touch me.
Glory, glory, glory.
Somebody touch me. Must have been the hand of the Lord. Must have been the hand of the Lord.
Can you take me to Jesus? If only I touch him, I will be healed. So many years of pain. I am suffering from hemorrhage for 12 years.
Hemorrhage?